My sister, BF, and parents have completely stopped engaging with me. I, 27F, have a younger sister Jenny, 25F. Jenny has been with and married to her husband Jake, 27M, for almost 3 years, together for 5. They really do seem like a match made in heaven. However, one thing she's struggled with for a long time is infertility. Jenny has wanted kids for as long as I can remember. But when they started trying 3 years ago, it just never happened. They tried everything but their doctor just said Jenny wasn't capable of carrying a baby to term. They've since looked into adoption or even surrogacy, though it is way above their budget. I, on the other hand, have never wanted kids. Not when I was a girl, not now, and hopefully I'll never have any in the future. I don't know why, but children make me anxious and childbirth is just a nightmare to even think about. Recently I found out I was pregnant. It was a complete shock and sent me into a panic attack. My BF, 29M, was upset when I immediately suggested ending the pregnancy. I told him I didn't want kids ever, but he was adamant on not ending the pregnancy. He suggested taking full custody and raising the baby all by himself if that's what I wanted. He reluctantly even suggested adopting the baby out of my hands completely. Anything, but he was not willing to be without the baby. My parents reacted worse. They said they wouldn't allow me to hurt a living being and offered other options. They even told my sister, who just jumped at the chance to adopt my baby, saying it was perfect and the baby could remain in the family and be raised by loving parents. Now, I don't doubt they'd make great parents. But I just don't want to go through a pregnancy. Every moment felt like an explosion would go off any moment. I hated it and I refused to continue with the pregnancy. I went behind their backs and got the procedure done. When they found out, my BF just coldly told me we are done and walked out. He isn't taking my calls now. Jenny wailed and insulted me before Jake took her home. She then blocked me and has since refused to even look at me. My parents keep saying they are disappointed and wished I wasn't their daughter so they wouldn't have to deal with me. I just want to fix things with them. They're my family and have always been kind and caring. I desperately want to sort their problems and for things to go back to how it was before I got pregnant. Any advice on how I can explain my feelings to my family? ETA, guys please. My parents and sister and BF are not bad people. I know I wasn't in the wrong for choosing what to do with my body, and neither do I think they were wrong for being pro-life. My parents have cared for, raised and supported me all my life. Through my teenage years, my studies, my relationship issues, career problems, everything. I know they aren't bad people. I just want to know how I can explain my feelings to them because I'm confused and struggling with expressing myself. My BF and I have been together for 9 years, damn it. We literally grew up together and promised to always be there for each other and always choose each other. He supported me through everything. He offered every help he could think of during the 2.5 months I was pregnant. He tried to understand my fears and help me through it. I understand I was wrong to go behind his back, but that's done, and now I want to know how we can move past this. He didn't leave when people made fun of him for dating me, when college life got too hectic and we had to go days without seeing each other, when my grandma died, when I was sick, or when I was terrified of a baby. He was there for it all and I don't want to be without him. Please help me convince him to seek counseling or therapy or whatever it takes. I can't bear to lose him. Update. Hello everyone, I suppose I should give people an update since I've gotten a lot of DM and messages on my last post. Firstly, thank you to everyone who gave me advice and tried to see my POV. I wasn't happy to see all the messages telling me I'm in denial, but I suppose it did get me to start thinking of my next actions instead of worrying and crying. My parents called me yesterday. My BF, yes, he still is my BF. We have not broken up. Talked to them and actually helped them see my perspective. They had called him to apologize for my actions, but he was adamant that they needed to apologize to me. He explained Jenny wouldn't have gotten our baby anyway since he was planning to be a single parent and raise the baby himself. So, it was their fault for giving her false hope, not mine. And he even drove them to our house so we all could talk. My mom is still a bit upset, but they apologized and promised to talk to Jenny. I'm hopeful things will work out between us. We're sisters after all. After they left, my BF and I talked. He apologized for forcing me to do something I didn't want. He said he thought if he took good enough care of me, the fear would slowly dissipate and we could be happy. He now sees that was wrong. We hugged and cried for a long time. He kept saying sorry and I told him it was nothing. That as long as I had him, I would be fine. He then said he wanted to give us closure, but he still wanted to break up. At that, my heart sank. I fell to the floor crying and he held me through it all, cuddling me and kissing my head. He clearly still loved me and I loved him. I asked why we have to end this. He told me he wanted kids. Our kids, but if it couldn't be, he'd rather move on and not linger, as staying child-free was impossible for him. I promised him I loved him beyond anything and I'd do anything for us to remain together. But he just wouldn't listen. He kept saying us wasn't enough. That he wanted kids. He apologized again and tried to leave. At that point, I was desperate and I grabbed him and promised him I would get therapy. We could try therapy and maybe in a few more years, I'll be ready for kids. I promised to try for him but begged that he stay. He looked so sad. It broke my heart. I kept begging for a second chance and refused to let him go unless he said yes. Finally he said he'd think about it. So, that's where we're at. He asked for a week and promised he'll think about it. I scheduled an appointment for therapy tomorrow. I think I can get better. After all, the fear is irrational. And this incident has shown me the desire to be with Will, BF, is way stronger than my fear of pregnancy. Will has done so much for me. Has always been there for me. I have decided to give this a try. I can't be without Will and I'm willing to overcome anything to be with him. That's it for now. I think Will saw my post since he's on Reddit too and that spurred him into actions. Reddit also got me working too. So thank you for that. Please pray for me and my relationship.
Relevant comments. For fug's sake, do not have a child if you do not want one. Kids aren't a compromise. Accept that you and Will are fundamentally incompatible and move on. Still go to therapy though, just to help you deal with the breakup in a healthy manner.
Damn, this is the worst update I've seen. This is the one issue that has zero room for compromise. Don't have kids you don't want. You will end up resenting both your partner and your kids. Kids deserve parents who enthusiastically want them. If you want to have kids, don't marry someone who doesn't want them. You will always resent that person for making you compromise on your desire to be a parent.
I decided to give this a try. This isn't a new hobby like fugging ceramics or badminton. You do not give it a try. A baby is an entire human being and you will be tied to them for life. If you try for the sake of keeping someone, then you are disgusting, just absolutely abhorrent. I don't fault you at all for terminating. That took profound strength going against the guilt and pressure from your entire family, but if you have a baby to keep your boyfriend, then you're the worst. Do not do it.